eras of mass communication effects studies, week number 9, first class. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I hope you all guys are doing well, inshallah. Today we are going to talk about something about 4 eras of mass communication effect studies. First of all, we need to know, we need to understand, we need to articulate what does this topic means. Basically, this topic of 4 eras of mass communication effect studies is about the discussions and theories and propositions and concepts given by different scholars all around the world regarding the effects of mass media during different eras. I mean, here we would understand, we will learn that how and when people started talking about the effects of mass communication. I mean, how did it start, and what kind of opinions people gave about the effects of mass media. So basically there are according to the book of James Tencard, there are 4 basic eras during which prominent thoughts have been given by scholars regarding the effects of mass media on society, on public, and on the minds of people. These 4 eras are: number 1, powerful effect era; number 2, limited effect era; number 3, moderate effects era; and the number 4th is powerful effect era again. So basically, first era, which we talk of and we label as powerful effects era, this era expands and goes from 1920s to 1940s roundabout. Okay, I mean, during these 20 years, what is the most prominent historical event in the history of mankind? I mean, if you apply your mind, you would find out that there was First World War, 1914 to 1919. During these years, I mean, people thought that media has strong impact on the minds of people. Prominent people who talked about this era, they are for instance Walter Lippmann. Walter Lippmann was the person who gave the idea of pictures in the minds of people. I mean, Walter Lippmann in 1920s, he believed that media, and in those days media was newspapers obviously, and up to some extent radio, but there was no television and internet, as you know. So according to Walter Lippmann, I mean, media creates pictures in the minds of people, imaginative pictures in the minds of people. So this is an indication of strong impact of media on the society. Similarly, I mean, you can say first ever theory regarding the effects of mass media on society is named as the magic bullet theory, which was coined in 1920s again. And what is magic bullet theory? Magic bullet theory is also known as the hypodermic needle theory. David Berlow in 1960s named this theory as hypodermic needle theory. Similarly, Wilbur Schramm in 1971, he named and labeled this theory as bullet theory, and then this theory also named as transmission belt theory in 1982. So there are different names given to this theory, but prominently and most quoted name is the magic bullet theory. Why do we call it magic bullet theory? Because People thought that the media messages, they affect people, they affect the audience just like the magic bullet affect its victim or the target, and the scholars believed that people are naive to the media. I mean, naive means they are sitting ducks. They are sitting ducks. I mean, media messages, they are very strong and people are vulnerable, people are passive audience. They would act as the media would tell them. Okay. Apart from magic bullet theory and the thoughts of Walter Lippmann and the magic bullet theory, Harold Laswell in 1926 gave a propaganda model, as you people already know, the SMCR model, which was expanded later on into the propaganda theory also. And then in 1937, Institute of Propaganda Analysis was established in Pennsylvania, America. And again, the main objective of this propaganda Institute of Propaganda Analysis, was to dig out and find out what kind of impact the media messages did have on the people during First World War and Second World War. First World War. So basically speaking, during this first era, people were believing that media has a strong impact on the minds of people. But during Second World War, the researchers and the people believed some other way around. But this was not intentional. This change of thinking and the paradigm shift was not intentional. Actually, Carl Hovland and his associates, they were given a task. Carl Hovland was a scientist, and he was a political scientist, and he was given a task that how can we encourage soldiers for the fight. I mean, how can we bring change in their attitude, because people believed that the soldiers, especially the soldiers of the Allied forces and the British forces, they were at low morale during Second World War. So, and one of the reason behind that was the propaganda, obviously, which was being generated by Goebbels and Hitler and Nazi forces. As it is mentioned in the books, I mean, they were given a task to find out that if it is true, and if the media can help their soldiers improve their morale. I mean, they developed a series of films, Why We Fight, and they showed these pictures of this series of 7 pictures to their soldiers, and they conducted a survey, they conducted research, and the main there were 3 main purposes of showing these pictures to the soldiers. First was to factual information from films. I mean, they wanted to give the information regarding war and enemy and their own powers to their soldiers. So first objective of showing movies was to find out if the factual information regarding fight and war has been improved among the soldiers or not. Second objective was to find out specific opinions regarding British war. I mean, how and what soldiers, I mean, thought about that war. And third objective was to acceptance, to find out if they accept military role and they were willing to fight or not. So when they conducted research, there is a long research and you will find out the details in the book. Ultimately they found out that films were effective in conveying information. I mean, yes, the awareness was improved. Somehow effective change came in their opinion also regarding the fight and role of the people. I mean, the second cause, which was specific opinions regarding British war. But as far as the essential purpose was concerned, I mean, to encourage them to fight and to bring a change in their action, and that was make them willing to fight. Here the movies failed. The statistics show that only 8% people changed their mind from not to fight to fight. So they concluded that single message is unlikely to change strongly held beliefs and attitudes. So this research of Karl Hovland is considered as the paradigm shift, and the paradigm shift was from strong impacts, powerful effects, to the limited effects, and credit goes to the research findings of Karl Hovland. During this era, there were other major studies, I mean, that you can study, and they are the researches of Cooper and Jehoda. They conducted their research on Mr. Briggs cartoon, and then there was a very famous book by Paul Lazarsfeld in 1948. The book name was The People's Choice. So you will find details of these two studies in the reading material. Then comes the moderate effects model. During 1960s, in 1964, Marshall McLuhan gave the idea of medium is the message. He wrote a book entitled Understanding Media in 1965. In this book, he mentioned that media influence sense ratios and patterns of perception instead of opinions and concepts. So if you apply your mind, you would find out that the shift is coming in terms of research and the research types. I mean, first there was a holistic kind of approach. I mean, if there is a strong impact or not, or some people believe that there is a strong impact, and some people believe that there is no strong impact. But here Marshall McLuhan gave some different idea. He gave that media influence sense ratios and patterns of perception instead of opinions and concepts. I mean, not necessarily media would change your opinions and concepts at all. I mean, for instance, if you think about teacher A is a excellent teacher and teacher B is a bad teacher, but after watching some ads and some pamphlets and some other things, you would change your mind from teacher A being bad teacher to the teacher B being good teacher. No, it's not like that. But what would happen according to Marshall McLuhan? You would start thinking, I mean, initially what you were thinking about teacher A, maybe you would start thinking parallelly something else. I mean, maybe some doubt can come in your mind, or maybe you would go for more research to find out if your opinion about teacher A and B is correct or not. Similarly, media affects habits of perception and thinking. I mean, just like I said, I mean, you would start thinking about the same thing differently after watching the media messages. He says that content of media does not matter. Content of media is like the juicy piece of meat carried by the burglar to distract the watchdog of the mind. So, according to Marshall McLuhan, the medium itself is the message. Medium can bring change in your thinking pattern. Actually, the message is a bridge to bring that change. Actually, what is happening, just like he gave this example of juicy piece of meat. I mean, the message is just a juicy piece of meat. What is happening actually happening? What is happening is the juggler, the burglar, who is trying to give you some message through that juicy piece of mind. He wanted to tell you, he wanted to convey you some message. So if we have overlook of this discussion, we would find out that yes, there is not a strong impact of media as Magic Bullet suggested, but at the same time there is not limited effect of media, but there is an impact of media that has on some things and there is no effect of media on some other things. Same things have been discussed in knowledge gap hypothesis and Surgeon General reports that you can study during this era, and we'll study these things detail in coming classes inshallah. And finally there is the powerful effect era again. In 1973 Elizabeth Noelle Newman, she gave the idea of spiral of silence. Elizabeth Noelle Newman believed that media has powerful effects on public opinion but could not detect it before due to the lack of research, or the researchers underestimated it. Now, why is she saying so? I mean, this was a very strong claim in that era. She believed that media has impact on the public opinion, but people could not find it out. This was a great claim. And then she conducted research and she found out, and she suggested that media has three prominent characteristics: cumulative, ubiquity, and consonance. These are three characteristics of media that makes media very powerful. I mean, cumulative means with the passage of time the effect of media keeps on growing. Secondly, media is virtually everywhere. It's not like that you would go and read newspaper, then there will be impact on you. No, I mean, you look at the year, it's 1973 we are talking about. Now in 1973 there was radio, there was television, and people were having cable TV, people were having satellite TV, and there was BBC, well established BBC, and there were news agencies. So what was happening? The speed of dissemination of information was far better than the 1940s, the 1920s. So now media is virtually everywhere. You cannot get away from the impact of media. She said that media's impact is cumulative. Why? Because media is virtually everywhere. Media is ubiquitous. And thirdly, media is consonant. It's giving you the same information again and again and again. I mean, one way or the other, you would have some kind of impact on you. So what happens after this? What happens? She said that either you would align your opinion with the media, or if you do not have the same opinion, the opinion being shared by the media, you would tend to silent. And why would you tend to silent? Because of fear of isolation or fear of a rejection. So she said that the people who are sharing the same opinion, who are having the same opinion as being shared by media, they are at the highest and the broader level of spiral. And with the passage of time, what happens? You won't, if your opinion is not according to media, you would not talk publicly, and then you would not talk into your friends, and then you would not talk to your peer fellows, and then you would not talk to your family members. Ultimately you will narrow down your opinion to your own self. So this is how she believed that media has an impact on your opinions, public opinions. So these are four basic eras, guys, regarding the effects of mass media, and this is you can say a gateway towards studying the broader theories and related researches regarding the impacts of mass media and we'll study all these things in coming classes inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.